Hey guys. Um, why am I on a whiteboard here? Just in case I have to draw something. I just find it in my other video I found it really helpful, and just in case I'm gonna draw something as I go along here. So I'm eating as well at the same time as I do whenever I do these videos sitting down. I'm always eating, so pardon me. This is a difficult story that has not been resolved. I'm gonna start before it even something that happened in on June 5th, 2021, and it was caused by Moderna, and I'm not afraid to say it. I may differ from many people who have gallbladder hyperkinesia, or just hypergallbladder. This is the same pain as pancreatitis. It's a gallstone. It's a pain of gallstone. I cannot take my hand and palpate the area. That's how bad this is. But I have a lot of other pain disorders, and I take opiates, and I take anti-colic medication called BUSCOPAN, and the other name for that is, and if you see this video now you know to take that, because that will take a lot of that pain away. So in Canada and the rest of the world you can get it, but in the States you can't, but they have a similar drug. So the other name for BUSCOPAN is HYOSCAMINE, and in the States you can get the other kind, which is like a 24-hour formula, I think, and you can't get it in Canada, and it's called HYOSCAMINE. Why don't they have it in the States? Because something happened in their trials, or side effects. This doesn't have any side effects. It's not addictive or anything like that. It's the United States that did this. So, and I don't live in the States, and I'm glad, because anyway, so BUSCOPAN works. I couldn't eat this right now doing this if I didn't have it. I believe I have a predisposition to this for certain reasons, having to visit the hospitals. I believe a problem started in 2015 before I had Moderna. But it wasn't something I really noticed a lot. Sometimes I get pain in there, and I came this close to diagnosing my own self. I went to the hospital. I have it written down on the records. I thought, because I've read a lot of like Merck Manual, it's always been an interest of mine. Like my dad's a doctor. We have a lot of that kind of stuff at home. And so I thought it was called gallbladder dyskinesia. And I saw it in one of my files when I was looking through them, and I was very, very close. Well, I was on the money. It just wasn't that one. Gallbladder dyskinesia is caused by like the muscle, and I can't even explain the whole thing to you. But one of the things, you can't take like an opiate or it'll set it off. It's the muscle sphincter, and I can't give you any more medical knowledge than that. This is extremely painful to go through. I've lost my lucidity. What does that mean? It means that it aches so much in there that I've lost my lucid nature. I still have times, but so I got to get right to this. This is going to be long. And I already suffer with intractable pain, intractable abdominal pain already. An uncommon syndrome called the splenic flexure syndrome I have, and I'm not going to explain that. It's also a colic disorder. It's just everything in your colon, you know, your gas in your stool gets trapped up in the splenic area. Very painful. Pardon me. These things are hurting my ears. They need bigger. It's hard to find mics that have big that have like big cups for the ears. Trust me, it's really hard to find, and they can be quite expensive too. So, pardon my breaks as I have to sip water a lot. I also suffer with kidney stones, chronic kidney stones, which I found oranges stop it. I mean, I have all the symptoms of like they're dissolved by the oranges. I found the answer, and they work. And these kidney stones that I had for 2 full years, 2 years plus, I believe are attached to my gallbladder. So I didn't have them like this before. I had maybe 2 in my life, and then they became full-time after that. So I have some rare diseases of my spine, very painful disorders. And, you know, everyone's being told to get a shot. I live in Canada. I didn't want to get it, but there was so much pressure to get it, and I wondered if I'd get worse if I didn't get it, if I ever got the virus, and I was herded in. So I got it, let's just say June 5th, let's say 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It was probably around that time. I felt something strange after I got the shot, but I don't think it was anything much. So that the rest of that day and night were fine. I was sitting at my next dinner at the end of the night like I am now, and I'd been talking to my brother on the phone, and when I hung up, something really bad happened. I started getting a wicked pain down my leg. That was the first thing. Then my body really started to hurt, and I went to bed, and I was in so much pain. It was the beginning of whatever that was doing. I'm not used to it's rare that I ever get the flu or cold. I didn't have it for 20 years, a flu or the cold, but other painful disorders, intractable, I do have. So I wasn't sick for 20 years before this happened. Like a flu or a cold. I believe it was myocarditis. That's right, that's what I believe. I was never diagnosed. Let me explain. I didn't have my heart imaged till much after it heals. I wasn't able to get a heart image for a year because I didn't know to do that. If you have myocarditis, it heals within 6 months and it's hard to find. That's what the medical literature says anyway. So the reason I woke up out of my sleep, so I went to bed, took my sleep med, which I need because of my pain. You're going to have to give me breaks. I woke up because I couldn't breathe. That's how I woke up. Like, what the heck is this? My arms were shaking. My legs were shaking. I knew it was the shot. Of course it was. Get up. So much abdominal pain. I'll just make it very short for you. I woke up because I couldn't breathe. I was very breathless for about 4 hours. I never went to the hospital, though. Why? because I was avoidant. I waited a week. I was in very bad shape then. I was standing at my counter, my kitchen counter, holding the counter for almost 2 weeks. I still went on my walks, still did my exercise, but I did it with this. It takes a lot to make me not exercise. I had a lot of abdominal pain. I lifted up my shirt that day when I went in to go have, it was baths I was having then. And I had a rash, and it lasted for 6 days. It covered my whole abdomen. It covered my neck. And it was undeniable, and it wouldn't go away. It was from the shot. I had many other symptoms. It was from the Moderna shot, and not being able to breathe, the abdominal pain, and the rash almost proved right there that that would be or pericarditis. What else would it be? Moderna has been blamed the most of them for that type of thing. It's a damning drug. So I was left with so much abdominal pain, and suddenly, like, I went to the ER 40 times over 2 years, I think it was. They didn't know what it was. I felt like a hypochondriac. Like, they knew when they pressed in the area, I would be like, like I'd yelp. They're like, we think you have a gallstone at the beginning. But when the tests were all coming out fine, I felt stupid. Did my blood, I just kept coming back to the ER over and over and over again. But I wasn't just there for gallbladder dyskinesia. I was there for something else the shot had done to me. It had messed up my life. It became, I have something called adhesive arachnoiditis. It's the most painful pain in the world. And it's in my lower back and legs. It's inflammation of the spine, progressive scar tissue in my spine. And I wondered if this jump-started my nervous system in some way. Because isn't that kind of what this stuff does? I was very alone. I felt alone and scared. Like, I go there and they didn't know what was going on. There were no answers to be found. I was recommended to a surgeon. I had an endoscopy done. They found 4 peptic ulcers, but I told them, because I'm on a med for, it was an NSAID. I said to them, it doesn't matter. This is an incidental finding. They wanted to do an endoscopy. They found them. They weren't bleeding, but they were there. Then I had to come off my anti-inflammatory drug that was keeping my spine under control for 10 plus years. I'd love to tell my story on like, Dr. John Campbell's, he does all his stuff about this. I would tell my story because I think it's worth telling. I'm surprised that I got better from what Moderna had done to me. It took months for these strange symptoms to go away. Like, I could barely walk, and it had nothing to do with my gallbladder. These were other things, but I'll get to my gallbladder. I was sent to a surgeon, and I was real scared. I had to come off that anti-inflammatory medication, and I did it, although I was really scared, and I stayed off of it. I let it heal. It said it could take 6 months to heal from an NSAID, peptic ulcers. And in fact, I was right. It wasn't that at all. All I had to do was take my fingers and palpate my gallbladder. Sorry about my expertise drawing here. I'll just do a body and show you, like, you know where the gallbladder is and stuff. Let's just give him some legs here. Go up. Okay. He wanted to get something called a HIDA scan because they weren't sure. They weren't finding anything. What's a HIDA scan? It measures your ejection fraction in your gallbladder, how quickly your gallbladder is emitting, the juices in it, right? To digest your food. I remember going to an ER appointment, and she had to be smarter than me, said, there's no such thing as an ejection fraction for your gallbladder, only your heart. I thought, no, there isn't. These are the types of things I was up against. Once they think you're something like a hypochondriac because, hey, look, he's here for the 30th time, what do you do? So I got it the first time and they messed it up. 2 hours on an x-ray table with the conditions that I have is very hard. What happened? So remember this, when you go there, you have two options. You can drink Ensure. Which isn't lactose friendly. Or they give you a shot called CCK. I had to get CCK shot because I'm lactose intolerant. I wasn't going to do that and have diarrhea on the table. So I have lactose intolerance, like gluten intolerance, because of surgery I had in 2007. And so they invited me back. I got CCK. They should have been equipped with it, but they weren't. Just my luck type of stuff. When the scan was done, 2 hours, you can't move at all. The radiologist was really nice, but he wasn't aware of what this was. He said, I'll read the report right away to you. I said, okay. And by the way, my first report, the one that screwed up, said I had gallbladder dyskinesia, and he didn't even diagnose it, and I pointed it out. But it was obviously an inconclusive test. So the second one, he read it out in front of me and my dad. He said, your gallbladder is at, sorry, I have to adjust myself. I'm like sitting. He's like, your gallbladder is at 91 or 93%. EF ejection fraction. And I thought, he said first, it looks really good. And I thought, hey, that's great. That's near perfect, right? But I'm a very interrogative person. And as I want answers. So as I'm leaving, I'm like, well, if there's such thing as hypo, there must be such thing as hyper, right? Because if you have one end and then you have a middle, right? And then you have another end, a spectrum. Here's hypo. Can't there be a hyper? So I asked him that, and he said no. I thought, okay, I'm out of here. I just want to get out of here because I'm very uncomfortable after a 2-hour scan. So I went home, and as I was eating my dinner, like I am sitting here with you right now, I guess the spirit inside of me said, Dave, research to see if that's true. And quickly I came up with an answer, which was I was correct. There was, and it certainly was a condition. Not only that, but it was a condition. So in a man, it was 8 times less than a woman. So in a woman, it was 1 in 30,000 people. So in a man, that's 8 times 3, 240,000. 1 in 240,000. No wonder the man didn't know what it was. I called back the next day. He was good enough to call back. And it took him a while to get back after that, but I talked to him. It took a while to get back. He said, now I'm giving you a diagnosis. I'm putting it down. You were right. And we've made you the first example of this to other radiologists. So there you go. So I got my answer. Gallbladder hyperkinesia. It's just running at an incredible speed. My colic medications really help it. And I have all other different things. I have to deal with my abdomen. I have adhesions, severe adhesions. I have the splenic flexure syndrome. And I'm treating all my kidney stones with oranges, which works, thank God. Eat 2 oranges a day. Like eat 2 navel oranges a day, and that's for another video. Boy, I didn't think there would ever be an answer, but there is. You may face like urinary symptoms, like you have to go pee really bad, but hey, it's worth not going through the agitation, irritability, and pain of a kidney stone. Yes, I still go through attacks of those, but okay, let's move on. What does this do to me? I get, and this, I knew there's a, I knew there was a predisposition to this, because it was the same type of pain I had in like 2015, 2018, but to an acute degree. These are acute attacks, and this isn't just a condition where you eat something and you get an attack, but yes, that is true. But this is generally a general illness. You're generally ill. You can't get better at all. It's always there, aching. And the reminder is just to push in your gallbladder. The only way to fix this is to have it removed. Cholecystectomy. That's it. It's the only proven thing. There's not much information on this disorder, which is horrific. It says it's like 85 or 89%. It's less conclusive in people with gallbladder dyskinesia because you can have your gallbladder and then it resolves. This, the same thing, but it's less likely by like 5% or something like that. I cannot eat fatty foods anymore. I was eating whole eggs. No way. Can't do that anymore. Absolute pain up my shoulder. It would go right up my neck. And with the back, I wouldn't say just on one side because it's what do you call it? Referred pain. And I have adhesions and this and that, so it spreads into everything. A lot of colicky pain, ripping, like tearing, aching. But I don't know. I would place this in a more general, I would say a chronic acute aching. And when you never know from meal to meal, what's going to happen? If you don't have colic medication to eat, you're going to throw up. You're going to be on your knees. Listen to my luck. So that test failed. Remember that HIDA scan, the first one. The surgeon was willing to take it out if I found the cause. I found out he was booted out of practice. How lucky for me, right? These things were normal. He was willing to do it. I passed through 3 gastroenterologists who each one of them didn't know what it was. That's what I was facing. I live in Canada. There's bad health care. We may see people, but it takes gastroenterologists 1 year. You heard that right. That's why a lot of people are moving out of Canada. People are dying because of such things. And I've watched people on channels make this about Canada from other countries. It's not about be thankful you have healthcare. There's something really wrong here. There's something very wrong. I've been like this for almost, well, it's been 2.5 years. Picture, pardon me. Think of pancreatic cancer. The pain in pancreatic cancer is the same pain as a gallstone. Actually, I don't know which one is worse. I would think a gallstone is probably worse. But the pancreatic cancer is in a general sense all the time. And that's what I'd say. This would probably amount to about the same. I could be wrong. But I suffer with adhesive arachnoiditis, which is the worst pain in the world, on par with terminal cancer in my legs. So I have a good idea of pain tolerance. The only way you can stop this, guys, is to have your gallbladder taken out. There's no two ways about it. They call this a functional disorder, and that's why people are afraid to do whatever. There's a Facebook group. I recommend joining it. Hyperkinetic gallbladders, or I think there's 2 of them. Just join the bigger and smaller one. A lot of info there. It makes me jealous to see people who are getting them out so freely in the United States, because it's obviously so much easier there. I did find someone who might, but I'm afraid of one thing, which is scar tissue, because my life was ruined because I have big adhesions down my abdomen. I believe I do have the option to get it out now. But I run a lot of risk where I am in my life right now. I don't know what I'm going to do about it. A place in Quebec. I'm in Ontario. This is a misunderstood thing. Functional disorder doesn't mean... It's like, this is pancreatitis. They take your gallbladder right away because you got jaundice, and because that's a sign of dying. You'll die if you keep going on with that. But the very same pain, same area, if you don't have jaundice, they just call it functional. Just suffer is what they're doing. So the last thing I would say is, there were times where I forgot to take my BUSCOPAN. Since I've had this, maybe about 10 times. Each time I was almost on my knees wondering what happened, because I start to become confused very quickly. And that's why people are likely getting treated before me because I have these things and I'm on opiates for intractable pain. And I'm still having a lot of trouble. I couldn't eat butter, so that's what happened. Couldn't eat fats. I had to stop butter because it was giving me like immediate diarrhea. Can't eat fat anymore. But it's okay because the foods I'm eating now don't contain a lot of fat at all. I immediately went down from about 125 to 100 pounds. That's what happened. I wanted to sue Moderna, but no one was liable. You know what happened. No doctor was liable. Nobody was liable. I phoned all the healthcare places. I would have done anything. I would have been a witness in court if I could have for what happened to me. I don't tell you 1/4 of what happened to me there. I was really scared when this happened to me. I also have autism, so I have a very sensitive nervous system. My pathways tend to be different than a lot of other people's. Sensitivities, all that type of stuff. But anyways, I'll leave it by saying this. God bless anyone that has this. Make sure you do your best to try to get it taken out. Yes, I would say get it taken out. Well, you say, Dave, why don't you? Because I have different issues than you. I formed keloid scarring, which is the worst form of scarring. And my scarring is what really made my life difficult. Thanks for watching this video. Hope you like my drawings. It's more like, aliens that they're trying to tell us are here, but never fall for it. They're just doing other things behind our back. Anyways, God bless.